What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Huh? I know Kung Fu. Show me.
I am a peacock! You gotta let me fly!
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains.
It's the Al Travis Show. We love our next guest. She is Senator Heather Gustafson. Senator, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How's the summer going so far for you?
Fast. I mean,
yeah.
At least when I was a teacher, we always thought it was half over by the 4th of July. And the 4th of July was last week. So, or week before. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it is going by fast. And especially you had an extra long session. And then the shootings, and I mean, this summer has absolutely flown by. Before we do any work, I ask these rapid fire questions. What's the last photo you took on your phone, your fancy phone?
Oh, I'm 99% sure it's a picture of my dog.
What's your dog's name? What kind of dog you got? That's a great answer.
Yeah. Well, I just have to say, once your kids get to a certain age, they don't want you to take pictures of them anymore when they're teenagers. So then it's just all dogs. I have a rescue German Shepherd. She's 12.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, good for you. All right, thank you for playing our little game. That's what we do. Busy time now, and let me ask you this. And there's no right and wrong. It's a Dear Abby kind of question. Have we waited enough time before we get back to politics as usual, or has politics as usual changed?
Oh, that is a great question.
Thank you. What I do.
I think it has to change, right? And also it has to go back to, we have to go back to it. I don't know if it's going to go back as per usual or as normal, but we have to go back to it. I do think, and this is why, I'm always a fan of yours, but also I think why you are a leader in this place of thinking, can we still argue about politics and policies, but can we not be personal, and can we do it in a way that, doesn't dehumanize the other side? And so kudos to you for doing that, but also I think we have to do that. And we have to call out people who aren't doing that, both sides, and say, you can fight about policy, but please don't bring down people individually. They stepped up. This is a democracy. The way to get them out of there is to vote them out. So
see, and I think you're 100% correct. Obviously, especially all that nice stuff you said about me. 100% agree. The issue we have is, as far as I can tell, and again, I don't know every politician. I have many of them in my X's and my phone and the face and all that. I have yet to see one of them, in my opinion, cross a line yet, right? That went back to politics as usual. I'm very proud of that. I like the fact we're a month away from that and it hasn't gotten crazy. But the crazies are still out there, right? The people making their money, getting hits or likes or whatever in the world, however they get their money, they're still out there. And this is my thing. If you and I, if the other representative senators, if we stop sending it on, forwarding it, if we stop replying, we stop liking it, those people will shrivel up.
Right.
They're there for a reason. So stop putting the like. You can read it, too late, it's in your head already, I got it. Throw it out, don't like it, and share with others. This stuff will die on the vine really quickly in my book. Am I crazy?
Right. No, I think you're right. I was also going to say there's two parts to it. Of course, there's the trolls and the using language like we're at war or the other side is going to, all of that stuff is, we got to cut that out. But there's also the misinformation piece of it, which can be also sometimes just as damaging because it just perpetuates this inconsistency of information. And so I do think that...
Do you know Dr. Oz? I'm sorry, Dr. Oz, the fact you just said that is so interesting. Dr. Oz, right? He's the head of something in the human services of the thing now, with the president. And this morning on the news, they had a bunch of people coming on talking about because Medicare is now dead, there's no one going to get Medicaid, it's all over, yada, yada. Right. Then they had Dr. Oz come on and said, you're the guy running this bill, tell me what's in it. Could not have been polar opposites. And there is, Dr. Oz, there will not be deaths in the street. He's almost guaranteeing that. I mean, we got to stop talking like that. It can be different. Medicare can be different, and he went through the differences. Good for his side. I get it. But the idea that we start saying people will die in the streets, because that what makes crazy people think they can do crazy things, i.e. the party question, would you kill Hitler if you have the opportunity? You just got to stop putting crazy people in those spots. All that being said, all that being said.
Yeah. Well, I think it's tough because you're trying to get a message across in a society that has such a low attention span that you've got to stick everything that's these complicated bills into the size of a meme. Because if you don't, no one will read it. And so you're really stuck with this, this conundrum of like, I need to grab people's attention, but I also how can I condense this down in a way that's going to hit home? Yeah. There are real stories. 30,000 vets here in Minnesota are affected by Trump's big, terrible bill. And I think that we have to tell that story, but how can we do it in a way that doesn't scare everybody is your point. And I think that that's a valid point to make. Yeah.
And and the other thing is, now that it's been a month and back to, is this going to last?
Yeah.
The timing of this is horrible. And what I mean by that is today is the start of the Mitchell trial.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I forgot.
So the 8:30 day, they start getting the jury, and then it'll start. And they think it'll last a week.
Mm-hmm. I forgot
This is where it ends. This is where the politeness ends. What I mean by that, this is catnip for those folks that want to make hay, right? If, break in is all it's going to be is her discussion of how it went in, and it's just too made for TV to not be the news story all weeks long, which in reality, and again, this show says, she is innocent until proven guilty. She has said when you hear her side, you will change your mind. And God, I hope that's true. Because otherwise our families went through living hell for no good reason. So we really want that to be true. But you watch this week, Heather, Senator Gustafson, maybe at a party I will, but when I don't do that, it's amazing the emails I get. I get to say a lot of weird crap, but you don't give the respect to the senator enough. And then my problem is I enjoy you very much. And anyway.
Yes.
This catnip is going to be
happy hour sometime. Yeah.
I would like that very much. This is catnip for them. This is the whole, you can't do this because your mother, this is going to be a terrible week for all we've gotten through for the last 4, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I will look to our leaders. I will look to our legislators who said very nice things about everybody. And they most of them, not all, but most of them had a genuine interest in moving forward in a way that was constructive. So I will look to them to sort of.
I don't think it's you guys. It's not you guys. It's the far left and right. Because on the other side, because of course the right can rip
that's what I
her
was saying.
all over.
If this is a moment too where legislators really can be the leaders that we wanted them to be.
That's fair.
And if they can sort of guide that conversation online, maybe that might help. It won't help with all of them, right? Some people are going to make the stupid comments and they want the splashy headlines and all of that.
And this because of the Michelle Mitchell thing, the right will have plenty. But Eichhorn's in the news today with his whole legal defense thing, and it's like, you kidding me? You a nut job? What? But lawyers got to do what lawyers got to do. But my point is both sides are going to have this opportunity to slip up and mess up and do what we've asked them not to do. And I'm really concerned about that this week.
Well, and vastly different crimes. And I'm not trying to say one's worse than the other, but it is one of those moments where you're like, listen, we're not going to do this. One, because it's just not good. You know who I think about in all of these things too is like the families. Now that we've experienced the worst thing that could happen to a family in politics, I look at this too, and I just think, is this like everybody sees this stuff? Are you really want this to be the thing you put out in the world? I don't know.
And even if it isn't right now, and I know Hope is old enough, the Hoffman's daughter, she goes online. That's going to be there forever. These young kids, the Hortmans, are going to get old enough that at some point, maybe they're staying off of Facebook now or whatever, but at some point they're going to see the crap you wrote. Is that really what you want to do to a kid? Seriously, think through the program. And we don't know that. Speaking of which, before I go to break, I just want you to know, Senator John Hoffman, his spot here, you've been so nice to fill in for him, texted me. We thought we were going to make it today. And on Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember, he texted me and said that there's some physical therapy. He really doesn't want to push it back. I'm like, hey, you do you. Don't worry about it. He did text me today and said it was a pretty tough day after physical therapy, but he thinks next Monday he will be here. So we're excited that Hoffman is going to be making it back.
I hope so.
Yeah. So that's the good news for the program. Well, for him and his family, but also the program. Yeah. We're very excited to have John back, and that should be 1 week from today. We'll be back after more, right after this, with Senator Heather Gustafson on the Al Travis Show.
Chanhassen Dinner Theaters brings you its most popular show of all time, Grease. You'll hear all your favorite hits from the Broadway musical and the movie. Join the whole gang at Rydell High. We'll sing, we'll dance, we'll bring you back to high school life in the 50s. Poodle skirts, bobby socks, the soda shop, and drive-in movies. Grease! It'll rock your socks off. Order your tickets today. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Everybody knows you have to have a guy in the auto repair business. If you want a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop. I don't know. Ask him. Jay's Auto Shop's locally and veteran-owned. Paul's your guy in the car business. He'll fix just what needs fixing, make sure it's done right, and at a fair price. You want to know your car's being taken care of, take it to Paul at Jay's Auto Shop. 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 507-525-1052. 507-525-1052.
Don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on the Al Travis Show.
We've got our Senator Heather Gustafson on the program with me. Senator, give me some inside skinny here. So the governor is talking about having a special session because of the big, beautiful bill and what it was going to do to the state of Minnesota. I think that's great because for him, for both reasons. If he's running for governor, he gets to save the state from the big orange guy. If he's running for president, he just fixed everything the big orange guy made. I see it good for him. No issue there. But can he make it happen? First off, I don't know if we know how much it hurt us yet. Do you need a special session? If you decide you do, when can you have it? Because you got the Mitchell trial, and now they just reset the Hortman special election into September. Right. Are you guys chatting about that amongst yourselves? How and when could this happen? You're not going to do it after November 25th, Thanksgiving to Christmas. You're not. When could this happen? or should it have?
No, I was just asking somebody about this last week, and they didn't have an answer for me either. So I wish I could give you some information, but I don't. I do think it is going to be something that I'm sure is talked about and figured out, but I'm not in those meetings, so I don't know.
All right, and that's a fair enough answer.
Yeah,
I don't know how this would work, and maybe you can tell me if the Mitchell trial goes south for her. And again, we're on the show claiming she's innocent, but if that does go south,
yeah.
do you believe the two parties, the Senate would then be tied? I mean, if they do you have to get together? Maybe this first question. Do you have to get together first to ask her to leave the Senate or to boot her out? Do you have to do that?
I don't know. I mean, as you know, this is pretty unprecedented.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm asking. I have no flipping idea. But if you got to get together for a special session, the first job would have to be to agree that we're going to say sayonara. We're going to ask you to leave, and then he'd have to get back together and then set up a special election. Or do you think the two teams, the two sides, could get along because they'd both be tied now? 33-33 and 67-67.
Mm-hmm.
Could you all come up with an answer to a $1 billion question if you're absolutely tied? Do you think you could all get along well enough?
Yeah, well, sorry, it was in my backyard thinking it'd be nice, and now I just get sun. I would say, and I don't mean to disrespect my friends in the House, but I would say when we had power sharing in the Senate, it went pretty well.
Smooth, yeah.
I don't know if it went that well in the House. Of course, they've had some more time to get used to it, so maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I do think that we have some pretty strong relationships over in the Senate that we are able to do that. But I don't know. I mean, the thing is that there's a lot of variables to what could happen this week, right? And
yeah,
probably. I'm sure there's a flow chart somewhere where people are like, if this happens and this happens, then this has to happen and we'll figure it out. I probably would have more information for you after this is over. But I mean, there would have to be, I suppose, discussions about it.
Can let's say this costs Minnesota. I'm just throwing $1 billion out just as it's easy. Let's say a big beautiful bill costs $1 billion to Minnesota. Can you guys make it to February? As I understand, this thing doesn't start until October. Can you make it to February and just say, that's when we're meeting, we'll handle this out, all the elections will be done, and then, you don't need a flow chart. I don't know what happens if you make a big, you guys balance, you did your budget, it instantly gets blown out of the water.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, I mean, that is the question, too. I know it's called the Big Beautiful Bill. I'm not trying to be polarizing by calling it
I think it's big terrible. I think that's hilarious. He starts that. Trump starts by making up that.
He walked into that.
Yeah.
I mean,
no hard feelings here.
It's a whole bunch of cuts, and it adds $3.3 trillion to the national debt. So where are my fiscal conservatives at?
Right here, and I had a guy. Hey, I get to answer that. You asked a question, I answered it. Because I had Emmer on, Congressman Emmer. And I said the same thing, because as a conservative guy, all I'm reading is $4 trillion in debt. What are you doing? We're the anti-debt people. We don't want this. And he said the difference is the CBO. I think their CBO.
He's
what is that? What they call?
There, though. Yeah,
well, no, what he says is and it makes sense. He said that if we didn't pass this bill and the tax increases happened, you'd have $4 billion more in the Treasury. And they're saying, since you didn't do that, you're short $4 billion. Their side, my side, says we'll grow that it would have been a tax increase and there would have been $4 billion more. He says it's going to work out. And now all I can do is tell you, this is way above my pay grade.
By giving the tax cuts to the millionaires and the billionaires, that's going to grow our economy.
See, but Heather, this is why I love you. This is why I love you. Giving the tax breaks to the billionaires. All it did was kept taxes exactly where they were. They kept taxes. Nothing changed. My taxes won't change. Yours won't. The billionaires won't. It stayed the same.
They have been feeding you that since the 80s. Since the 80s, they've been feeding you that. It has never happened. It's not going to. But okay. All right.
See, that's why we can agree to disagree. I love that. I don't know where we're at. Your thoughts then on, just quickly, the governor doesn't seem to want to let anybody know if he's in or he's out for the governor's job, which seems to be putting just a hold on everybody, Republicans, Democrats, who's in and who's out. Because I see, at least in this, you got.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to go back to it outside of this Republican budget bill, we're seeing a freeze in education funding, right? So like
Yep.
every year around this time, July 1st, all the schools have to balance their budgets as well and forecast for
Yep.
their future years, and they've frozen our funding. So you're talking about like millions, so $72 million, I think, that's on the line that's being held up right now just for Minnesota schools. So that, I mean, I said on the Education Finance Committee, like, you should hear the testimony of these school boards and superintendents who come in from all over the state, rural, urban, suburban, and beg for just 1% increase on a formula. I mean, they're begging for it. And 1% on the formula is, this much compared to the just millions now that they're going to have to try to figure out how to fill that gap in from federal funding. So, I mean, he has done, and I mean, he's just frozen them. And I know every day is another chaotic decision-making process with the Trump administration, but he might unfreeze them and everything be fine, right? He loves to create a problem and then solve it immediately so he looks big and tough. But I will say that if he doesn't fix it and if he doesn't unfreeze those funds, what are schools supposed to do? They're already getting the lion's share of our budget here in Minnesota. So I don't know how much more we can give them, right, without having to make major cuts to human services or health and human services. And we can't afford to do that either. So what are we going to do?
We're going to
I
run
don't
out of
know.
time. You lead up right up to the last moment, so I can't come back with anything, but we'll do it next time you're on. Senator Gustafson, I love having you on. I thank you for taking the time to be here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Senator Heather Gustafson on the Al Travis Show.